Free socks.
Hello from the first full day of the National PTA LegCon. For those of you who don't know what LegCon is, it is a day when the National PTA facilitates a legislative conference. The format of this year's conference, there were some pre-meetings yesterday. Today is all about preparing for tomorrow's meeting with members of the legislature. This year, there are 5 things that the PTA is calling upon our members of Congress to do. The first is make meaningful and robust investments in education in the next COVID relief package. The second is to increase funding for statewide family engagement centers to $20 million. The third is to include schools in any comprehensive infrastructure package. The fourth is to improve the federal school meal program through child nutrition reauthorization. And the fifth is to support policies which protect all students, including students from historically marginalized populations and communities. If you're not able to attend today's session, I wanted to just share some more about what has happened on the ground there. So today we started with the opening address, where we talked about these 5 asks for this year. We also took a look at Ann Kahn, who was a member of the National PTA, very, very big in advocacy, and she had a really incredible story. So you can look up Ann Kahn. There's a great YouTube video that we've shared out and that the PTA, the National PTA, put together on their YouTube. She's really an incredible PTA role model, and we heard a lot about her this morning. We also heard about the phrase of community. We are a community that is all about unity. And I really liked that play on words, community. So that was a really fun start to the day. And then we got to hear from all the amazing people who made this conference happen. Some were able to speak and others were just named, but it did take a village to put together these few days, and thank you to the National PTA for doing that. The first workshop this morning was all about Hill Day prep. So if you are attending tomorrow, but were not able to attend today, I do want to share a little more about what was discussed. So there was additional detail about the 5 asks. You can find that information on the National PTA website. There is an overview on the 5 asks, and then there are more details on any bills that support those asks and FAQs about the different asks. Some of the things that I found particularly helpful were some detail about the SFECs, which are the engagement centers, that's ask number 2. Arizona has a really great model and is doing a good job of this. The goal is to get families engaged in our education, and Arizona has taken a multi-generational approach with everybody from students to parents to grandparents involved, and the focus is on family literacy and GED instruction. But the idea is to get these statewide family engagement centers out across the nation. And there's even more of a need now post-COVID because of the need to get families more engaged generally. So I thought that was really helpful on the second ask. With respect to the third ask, including schools in comprehensive infrastructure packages, this is really about the school buildings themselves. There's a specific bill called RASA, R-A-S-A, and this bill would form a grant program that would provide funding to schools. The funding would really fall into 2 main categories. The priority would be for school infrastructure needs around COVID-19 to come in line with CDC requirements. But the second would be around just the school buildings more generally. It would prioritize schools in low-income communities. And then it would also establish a public database that would provide the status of school infrastructure. The average school building is over 40 years old, and so they do need some modernization, and this bill would help, but including schools in any comprehensive infrastructure package is really important. The fourth ask around child nutrition, we all know how important being healthy and being fed is to learning. And so there was some action taken around this in light of COVID. There was a USDA waiver allowing for additional nutritional needs to be met, and the ask is around extending that because that waiver only goes through the end of 2021, as well as some additional asks that you can find in the FAQ. And then finally, the fifth ask around protecting all students. This really relates to the use of restraints and corporal punishment. This was pretty eye-opening for me, how common the use of restraints and corporal punishment is, particularly in certain parts of the country. And so there are two bills here that support using these methods less frequently and making sure that the use does not disproportionately impact historically marginalized populations in the way that the use of those methods does today. So really critically important asks. If you're participating tomorrow, make sure to prepare today. There won't be time to get into detail about each of the 5 asks, so pick the area that you or your group are most passionate about and prepare. You are the expert, so don't be nervous. You have all the details. Remember that. If you're going to be a speaker, practice. Come across as professional, but also have fun. Before your meeting, make sure to do research on who you're meeting with. There may be some personal connections you can draw, or you may see that in their past they have supported similar bills. So definitely do that research so that you're prepared walking into the discussion. And then after the discussion, email a thank you and any follow-up steps. Tomorrow's going to be an exciting day where we really have the opportunity to move the needle on advocating for our children as part of the National PTA mission. This workshop that I just attended, I gave a brief overview. There are some additional documents on the National PTA website, but the main takeaways for me were choose your ask that you are passionate about, prepare for any meeting beforehand, and then make sure to do the stated follow-up. Finally, have fun, be passionate, be yourself, and go out there and advocate for our children. More to come from the later sessions of LegCon. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you later.
Free socks.